So the AI world just kind of exploded. It all kicked off when thousands of creators logged into one of their favorite music-making tools, only to find that all their work was suddenly, completely locked away. We're going to break down exactly what happened, why it happened, and what this all means for the future of, well, creating anything. All right, let's get into it.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. You spend months, maybe even more than a year, pouring everything you have into a creative project. You've built up this huge catalog of stuff you're really proud of, and then one morning you wake up, log in, and it's gone. You can't access any of it. That's not a hypothetical. That's exactly what just happened to thousands of users of a really popular AI music generator called Udio. On October 30th, this is the message that greeted users. Just bam. No warning, no grace period, nothing. Just a total shutdown on all downloads. Udio, this tool that lets you create entire songs from just a simple text prompt, had just slammed the door on its own users. And the reason why? Well, it's at the very heart of the biggest fight happening in technology today. So, yeah, how did we get here? This wasn't some technical glitch or a server going down. Nope. This was the direct result of a massive legal war between the new world of generative AI and, let's call it, the old guard of the music industry. And the whole fight really comes down to one single crucial idea. Okay, so to build an AI that can make music, you first have to teach it what music even sounds like, right? And how do you do that? You feed it just an unbelievable amount of existing music. We're talking millions and millions of songs, a lot of them just scraped from all over the internet. That's what we call AI training data. And, well, that's where the problem starts. This slide right here, this is the whole argument in a nutshell. On one side, you've got the AI companies saying, hey, we're just using data that's publicly out there to train our models and build cool new things. But the record labels, we're talking the giants like Universal, Sony, and Warner, they see it very, very differently. To them, it's mass theft. They're saying you are stealing our artists' copyrighted work to build your business, and they're not paying a dime for it. So instead of fighting this out in court for years, Udio blinked. They caved and reached a landmark settlement with Universal Music Group. And this is a huge deal because it's the first major domino to fall. It sets a massive precedent for every other AI company out there facing the exact same lawsuits. And as part of that deal, Udio had to completely change how it worked, starting with that download ban. As you can probably guess, the people who had poured all that time and energy and money into the platform were furious. I mean, this wasn't just some small inconvenience. To a lot of them, it felt like a total betrayal. The community response was immediate, and it was intense. This quote from a paying pro user just says it all. You can feel the frustration. He describes spending over a year, 10 hours a day, building a catalog of more than 300 songs. He wasn't even asking for his money back. He was just begging for a chance to save the work he'd already made. And his story was just one of thousands just like it. Someone came up with this analogy, and it's perfect. It's like being a software developer, right? You spend a year writing thousands of lines of code on a platform, and then suddenly you're told, sorry, you can't download your own source code anymore because, well, the platform itself was built using some copyrighted stuff. It's a gut punch. It makes you feel like the thing you created isn't even yours anymore. The backlash was so big, so loud, that Udio had to do something. They came out, they apologized, and under all that pressure, they offered a tiny compromise, a tiny, tiny window of opportunity. For just 48 hours, starting November 3rd, users could frantically download all of their songs before the gates were slammed shut again, this time for good. So after all the dust settled from that chaos, what does the new Udio even look like? Well, the company announced it was moving away from that Wild West approach of just grabbing data and pivoting to a whole new model, one built on partnership directly with the music industry. The new approach is basically a three-step plan. First, they're going to partner directly with artists and labels. Second, and this is the big one, they will only use officially licensed music for their training data, no more scraping the web. And third, they're building a system to actually pay the original artists when their work or even just their style is used to generate new music. For you, the user, this changes everything. Instead of just generating kind of generic stuff, you'll now be able to create music specifically in the style of artists who have opted in. You'll be able to officially remix your favorite songs, or even do crazy stuff like combine the styles of different artists to create something totally new, all above board and all within a licensed system. Look, this settlement is a landmark moment. There's no doubt about it. On the surface, it seems like a clear win for artists' rights, which is great. But It also raises some really tough, kind of troubling questions about the future of creativity, competition, and who owns what in the age of AI. Right. Because while paying artists is obviously a good thing, a lot of people are now worried that this new model could actually lead to a much more restrictive world for creators. Did we just solve one problem for the big record labels, only to create a much bigger, more dangerous one for every independent creator out there? This is the potential nightmare scenario some people are calling copyright trolling. Imagine this. A giant company licenses a huge library of music. Then, they use supercomputers to generate and copyright literally every possible musical combination from it. We're talking trillions of them. Then, they just unleash bots to crawl the internet, automatically hitting any independent artist with a copyright strike if their melody happens to match one of their computer-generated snippets. It could effectively lock down musical creativity on a scale we have never, ever seen before. And you gotta understand, this fight is so far from over. Udio settled, sure, but its biggest competitor, Suno, is still in the middle of a massive lawsuit with major labels. And it's not just music. The AI company Anthropic recently paid a fortune to settle with authors who said their pirated books were used to train chatbots. This is an industry-wide war. So you end up with two totally competing visions for what the future should look like. On one hand, you have the pro-artist view. Artists and the people who own the rights to their work absolutely must get paid for it. It's their property. But on the other hand, you have the pro-creator view. These powerful AI tools open the doors for so many more people to be creative, and that competition is good for everyone. And honestly, both sides have a really good point. And that leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? In this wild new era where a single line of text can generate an entire symphony, who gets to draw the line between innovation and ownership? This UDO settlement, it isn't the end of the story. It's really just the explosive first chapter in a debate that is going to define the future of art itself.